Have you ever thought about how the internet actually got here? How did it go from nothing to the single most transformative technology in human history? Because the story is not what you think. It starts not with a genius in a garage, not with Silicon Valley, not even with a computer. It starts with fear. 1969, the Cold War. The United States government had a problem. Their military communications were centralized. One bomb in the right place could take out the entire network. So they funded a project, a small, quiet, almost boring project. They called it ARPANET. The idea was simple. Instead of one central hub, build a network where information could travel multiple routes. Destroy one node, the message finds another path. You can't kill it because there's no single place to hit. On October 29, 1969, a graduate student named Charlie Klein sat down at a computer at UCLA. He was going to send the first message over this new network to a computer at Stanford, 400 miles away. The message was supposed to say, log in. He typed L. He typed O. The system crashed. The first message ever sent over what would become the internet was LO. Nobody planned that. It just happened. 1970s. The network grows. Nobody notices. ARPANET expands. More universities, more research labs. Scientists start using it to share data. Then they start using it to talk to each other. The first email was sent in 1971 by Ray Tomlinson. He chose the @ symbol. That decision, one person, one afternoon, is still in every email address on Earth. 1983. The internet is officially born. On January 1st, 1983, ARPANET switched to a new communications protocol called TCP/IP. This is the technical moment the internet was born. Every device that connects to the internet today still uses this protocol, but nobody outside of research labs knew it existed. The internet was 8 years old, and the world had no idea. 1989. One man. Everything changes. Tim Berners-Lee was a British scientist working at CERN in Switzerland. Thousands of researchers, dozens of countries, information stored on incompatible systems, knowledge constantly getting lost. He decided to fix it. He invented the URL, the address that tells your browser where to go. He invented HTTP, the protocol that lets computers talk to each other. He invented HTML, the language that builds every web page you've ever seen. He built the first website himself. He could have patented all of it. He could have become the richest man who ever lived. He gave it away for free. On August 6th, 1991, the first website went live. It still exists. You can visit it today. The early 1990s. The web opens to the public. In 1993, a 22-year-old named Mark Andreessen released a browser called Mosaic. For the first time, ordinary people could navigate the web with images, not just text. Within a year, web traffic increased by 341,634%. People started building websites, not companies, people. In their bedrooms, about their cats, their hobbies, their opinions. The web in 1994 looked like a massive, chaotic, beautiful mess. Everyone had a homepage. Everyone had a guest book. The web felt like a place. Then the money arrived. 1995 to 2000, the gold rush. Suddenly, everyone wanted a piece. Companies formed overnight. Business plans were written on napkins. The idea was simple. Get online, grow fast, figure out the money later. Amazon launched in 1995, sold books, lost money for years. Nobody cared. eBay launched in 1995, built on the idea that strangers could trust each other enough to mail each other things. It worked. Google launched in 1998. 2 PhD students at Stanford who couldn't agree on a name. Their original nickname for the project was Backrub. They changed it. By 1999, investors were pouring billions into any company with a .com in its name. A pet food delivery company called Pets.com raised $82.5 million and spent $1.2 million of it on a Super Bowl ad. They went bankrupt 9 months later. At its peak, the total value of .com companies was $2.9 trillion. Then it all collapsed. March 2000, the crash. The Nasdaq peaked on March 10th, 2000. Then it fell and fell and fell. By October 2002, it had lost 78% of its value. $5 trillion in market value evaporated. Companies that had been worth billions were worth nothing. Thousands of people lost everything. But here's what nobody talks about. The internet didn't disappear. The bad businesses disappeared. The infrastructure remained. The users remained. And the people who survived, Amazon, Google, a handful of others, emerged from the wreckage stronger than anyone could have imagined. The crash didn't kill the internet. It selected for it. 2004 to 2010. The web becomes social. Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook from his Harvard dorm room in February 2004. Within 24 hours, 1,200 students had signed up. Within a month, half of Harvard was on it. YouTube launched in 2005, founded by 3 former PayPal employees. Google bought it 18 months later for $1.65 billion. At the time, it seemed insane. Google paid $1.65 billion for a website where people uploaded videos of themselves. Twitter launched in 2006. The first tweet was sent by co-founder Jack Dorsey on March 21st, 2006. It said, "Just setting up my Twitter." The iPhone launched in 2007. Steve Jobs called it an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. The audience laughed when he said it 3 times. They thought he was listing 3 separate devices. He wasn't. The internet moved into your pocket, and it never left. The 2010s started with hope. The Arab Spring. 2010 to 2011, protesters in Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, coordinated through Facebook and Twitter. Governments that had controlled information for decades suddenly couldn't. For a moment, it looked like social media would democratize the world. Then governments learned to use it too. By 2016, something had shifted. The same tools that helped protesters organize were being used to spread misinformation at industrial scale. The 2016 US election, Brexit. Researchers at MIT published a study in 2018 that found false news spreads 6 times faster than true news on Twitter. Not because bots pushed it, because people shared it. Humans, it turns out, find lies more interesting than facts. Facebook had 2 billion users and almost no idea or interest in knowing what those 2 billion people were actually doing with it. In 2018, Mark Zuckerberg sat in front of the U.S. Senate. An 84-year-old senator asked him how Facebook made money if it was free. "Senator, we run ads," Zuckerberg said. The senator nodded, like this was new information. That exchange told you everything about who was supposed to be regulating the internet. 2020. The internet becomes infrastructure. March 2020. The world locked down. Overnight, the internet stopped being optional. School happened on Zoom. Work happened on Slack. Birthdays happened on FaceTime. Funerals happened on YouTube. Zoom went from 10 million daily users in December 2019 to 300 million in April 2020, in 4 months. Netflix added 16 million subscribers in the first 3 months of 2020, more than the previous year combined. Amazon's revenue grew by 38% in 2020. Jeff Bezos added $75 billion to his net worth in a single year, while his warehouse workers risked their lives to deliver packages. The pandemic didn't create these dynamics, it revealed them. The internet had quietly become the most essential infrastructure on Earth, more essential than roads, more essential than electricity in some ways, and it was owned by a handful of private companies with no democratic accountability whatsoever. 2022 to 2023. Everything breaks at once. Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion in October 2022. He fired 75% of the staff in the first week. He renamed it X. Half the advertisers left. Half the users stayed anyway because they had nowhere else to go. That was the moment people realized something important. These platforms had become so embedded in daily life that even when they became objectively worse, people couldn't leave. The network effect had created a trap. Your friends were there. Your news was there. Your identity was there. ChatGPT launched in November 2022. 1 million users in 5 days. 100 million in 2 months, the fastest-growing consumer application in history. For the first time since the web browser in 1993, something genuinely new had arrived. Not a new app, not a new platform, a new kind of thing entirely. The internet had spent 50 years connecting humans to information. Now it was starting to generate the information itself. 2024 to 2026. The AI Internet. The web you use today is already different from the web of 2 years ago. Google search, the thing that defined how a generation found information, started losing users for the first time in its history. Not because people stopped searching, because AI could answer questions directly. Why click 10 links when you can get one answer? Meta deployed AI across all its platforms. Your Instagram feed is now curated by systems so complex that the engineers who built them cannot fully explain why you see what you see. Apple Intelligence launched in 2024. Microsoft built GPT into every product it owned. Amazon embedded AI into Alexa, into AWS, into the recommendations that tell you what to buy next. The 5 companies that already controlled the internet now control the AI that runs on top of it. And a new arms race had begun, not for users, for data, for compute, for the models that will decide what information looks like next. In 2025 alone, Microsoft, Google, Meta, and Amazon announced over $300 billion in combined AI infrastructure spending. That's more than the GDP of most countries spent in a single year on servers. The internet is no longer a place you visit. It is a layer that sits between you and reality, filtering what you see, predicting what you want, deciding what is true enough to show you. LO. The system crashed. He tried again. The message got through. That's the whole story, really. We keep building something we don't fully understand. It keeps breaking in ways we didn't expect. And somehow, through the crashes, through the bubbles, through the scandals and the regulations and the billion-dollar mistakes, it keeps connecting us. The internet is 57 years old. It is still figuring out what it wants to be. So are we.